Greetings, it's New Zealand naturopath Eric Baker, author of Candida Crusher and formulator of the CanXida range of dietary supplements. Let's talk about the natural treatment of Blastocystis hominis. So blasto being a parasite, I trust you've checked out my other videos so far on blasto. The treatment for blasto is not unlike the treatment for candida. I've discovered that blasto loves sugar. In fact, I think it loves it even more than candida loves sugar. And this is what confuses a lot of people. Many people who read my Candida Crusher book or who've read online about yeast infections, they may in fact have a blasto infection. They may have a Dientamoeba fragilis infection, an Entamoeba holistica. You know, there are many different kinds of parasites out there. And a lot of these parasites have one thing in common, right? Well, a couple of things in common. They need feeding, they produce wastes, they get attacked by the immune system, creating chemicals that affect the body peripherally. They compete with each other. They have these wars going on internally, a little bit like, the Catholics and the Muslims and, all these religious people have fights all the time. It's a little bit like what happens internally with us. We have these inner wars going on. So I want you to try and understand that you shouldn't really try and compartmentalize diseases too much and give everything separate treatments, okay? If you have a look at my work I've written on yeast infections, if you follow that quite carefully, you're going to have a fantastic outcome for blasto as well. So the blasto treatment, as I mentioned, is not unlike candida treatment. You need to really take the sugars and the refined starches and the junky foods out of the diet. I can't help you if you maintain alcohol consumption. Even if you drink 1 glass of beer a week or even a month. So if you're drinking alcohol and you've got a gut problem, and you don't want to stop, hit the kill switch right now on this video because I don't want to help you. I'm not interested in helping you. If you're sincere and you want to overcome this problem, you will stop drinking alcohol for at least 3 to 6 months while we work on your gut. Okay, so that's number one for natural treatment. You cannot drink alcohol in any shape or form until your gut comes right. All right? You must stop for a considerable period of time all sorts of sweet foods, confectionery, ice cream. Most breads need to go because they're too refined for the gut. Those starches are great fodder for lots of different kinds of bad bugs, as well as parasites in the body. So you need to get rid of these kinds of foods from your diet. A whole foods diet is the best. You will have heard of the SCD diet, the specific carbohydrate diet. Donna Gates' work on body ecology, there are so many different books out there now which all have, you can draw parallels from. They're all very healthy, clean dietary approaches. You can pick any one of these. They're all going to work to a reasonable extent with eradication of blasto as well as candida. It's all about discipline, folks. It's all about eating the right kind of foods, avoiding the crap that you know to avoid, exercising regularly, getting plenty of rest and sleep. There's, again, I don't know how many times I've told you, there's no rocket science behind this. It's common sense. I tend to grow a lot of my own vegetables and fruits. A lot of the green foods I eat come straight out of the garden, and I think it's a really nice thing if you can grow some of your own foods. You'll be more motivated to eat healthy if you do that. So blasto doesn't like lots of vegetables, for example, especially things like broccoli and spinach. Those are good foods. Beans, celery, kale. Steamed kale is a really good food. There are many foods you can eat that discourage blasto infection. And there are many foods you can eat that encourage it. So the stronger your gut symptoms, the more careful you've got to be with your diet. But I don't want you making changes too quick. I want you making changes more slowly. I've had too many patients contact me, get into really big problems when they did a very strong about turn with their diet within a week. They stopped eating all the junk food and they started trying to eat everything perfect. And they did that all within a week, and then they end up feeling like crap. So you can't do that. You need to have a slow transition from junk into a healthy way of living. Because remember, you've got to change the environment of the gut. And that can take a few weeks or a few months for you to achieve that. It's not going to happen overnight. I'm making another video after this on the futility and how stupid it is to take antibiotics for blasto. What a waste of time it is to take drugs like metronidazole. I think we call it Flagyl. There are many different kinds of pharmaceutical drugs you can take for blasto, but the problem is they create more problems. more than anything. So going down the drug pathway, taking something to kill a strong antibiotic is going to have a very bad effect on a lot of the beneficial bacteria and will only delay your recovery. So it's certainly not a good approach. Most of the patients I've had over the years with chronic blasto infection have been to doctors for 2, 5 or 10 years. They've had, 10, 20, 30 rounds of antibiotics. They've gone from the bottom end up to the top shelf of the drugs, and they still didn't work. And then they came to me. And in some cases, it took a year for them to come right because we had to repair all the damage, damage to their gut membrane that occurred. Their gut became increasingly permeable and leaky with each successive round of antibiotic. It's like just giving people more credit and more credit until they eventually hang themselves because they can't pay it back anymore. So antibiotics are not the way to go. So natural treatment is something I've been involved in now for nearly 30 years. I've built my reputation really on Candida, but also on parasites with patients. I've worked with parasites now for a long time, many different kinds of patients, thousands of patients, all kinds of different conditions. But the common thread is, everyone's always asked me, Eric, what's the best possible natural product I can take to really nail this infection, to get rid of it once and for all? So what I've done really, I'd say since the 80s and 90s, I've used all sorts of natural products. I've got a whole range of liquid herbs just outside the door. I've got a whole rack of about 45 different herbs I use. They're pretty strong tasting though. A lot of people don't like liquid herbs. But I've studied herbal medicine quite well, so I'm pretty well up to date with all the best herbs for the gut. I've tried all sorts of tablets for people and all sorts of capsules. I've tried all sorts of teas on people, so I've pretty well much worked out what works and what doesn't work for most. And whether we're dealing with children, men and women, all age groups. And this is one of the reasons why I created the CanXida range of dietary supplements, because I got sick and tired of very average results with people. I wanted something that was going to work time and time again. Every time I gave someone something in the past, it was either, was it going to work or wasn't it going to work? Was it sufficiently, did it have a good broad spectrum ability to wipe out all kinds of things, or is it only going to work on a few types of pathogens? Nearly all products I've used just weren't broad spectrum enough. They didn't either have the strength or the ability to wipe out a whole range of pathogens and inhibit the reproduction of yeasts, parasites and bad bacteria at the same time. And that's why I created CanXida. So CanXida Remove and CanXida Restore. I write the domain name on paper. Now I want you to go and check out this website. It took me a long time to work out the right combination of things to use, and I think I really nailed it now. No, that's wrong. That's the wrong domain. I better write it down properly. So I don't really care what you're currently using. You could be using a capsule that you bought online or you've got from your doctor or your naturopath. If you're not getting the outcome that you're looking for, I want you to try this range. So there it is there, CanXida.com. So go to that site. I'll just hold it up there for a few more seconds. Go to that website, and currently there are 2 products that I've created. I've got a few more in the pipeline, but they're going to take a bit of time to make. But the first product I created was called CanXida Remove. Now we've had a lot of hassles getting our second batch made because it's a very, very difficult product to make. I've had to work with various kinds of manufacturers because one couldn't do this and one couldn't do that. So I've got quite high standards when it comes to manufacturing a product, and particularly the raw materials, because I've worked in the industry for so long. I know all the raw material suppliers, so I've got quite strict criteria as to the grade and the strength of the herbal medicines that I want to use in this product. Many companies that have wanted to work with me wanted to just create shortcuts and to put all sorts of junk in there that I wasn't interested in. So CanXida Remove, in my opinion, is nothing like it currently anywhere online. You will not get anything like CanXida Remove. Now this targets all of the parasites as far as I'm concerned. I've had outcomes which have really, really blown me away. So I've had patients on this CanXida Remove tablet for a couple of months, and completed stool tests pre and post and seen amazing outcomes on huge reductions. But the interesting thing is, I haven't seen huge reductions on the beneficial bacteria. So I'm very confident in saying to you that by taking the Candida Remove, you're not going to wipe out all the lactobacillus species. So it's a funny sort of a greeny sort of browny tablet, and you start by taking 1 per day, then you take 2 per day, and you can take up to 3 per day or even more. So what you're going to find is, by starting slow and building up to about 3 a day with chronic infections, you should start noticing a change within a week. Some people notice it within 24 hours. Most patients stay on the range anywhere from 1 up to 3 or 4 months. And the Candida Restore is a probiotic enzyme combination. So I've got 7 enzymes in there and 6 probiotics. I had a really good think about the best types of enzymes to use and probiotics. So that product works really well by increasing the ability of the digestive system to work, thereby, favoring altering the pH of the gut to destroy pathogens. It increases uptake of nutrients, and the probiotic allow, again, the restoration of a badly damaged gut. They allow the repair of the leaky membrane, and they build up poor levels of beneficials that have been hammered by the antibiotics. If you're eating commercial grade chicken, you're having antibiotics. If you're eating commercial meat, you're eating antibiotics. Many patients I've seen have had some kind of antibiotic. And even if they haven't had any antibiotics, they will generally show lower levels of beneficials if they've been sick for some time. So I used to give probiotics separately from enzymes, but now I tend to give them together. The other thing I don't like doing is giving prebiotics in with my probiotics, because I found with SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth patients, they can get quite sick. In some cases, they can get quite headachy and spaced out and get gut aches from giving them inulin or FOS along with probiotic. So I tend to encourage that as a food separately from the supplement. So the Candida Remove works by eradication and inhibition, reproduction, and the Restore helps to rebuild the gut back up again. So both those products are available at CanXida.com in a pack. You can actually get the pair of them in a pack. They work quite well. So try and get the pack if you can, and also try and get a couple of containers so you can stay on this range for several months. And we've had such amazing feedback on this product range so far that it's really exceeded my expectations, so I'm very pleased. But it doesn't stop there. I'm going to continually reformulate and reformulate and reformulate these products until I get, there's no doubt, the best possible products that I can make. And that comes through just more research into bugs like blasto and entamoeba and bugs like that. So I hope that's given you some good information today on the natural treatment. So remember, the diet has to be good, the lifestyle has to be conducive. You have to really understand the link between relaxation and stress in the immune system. And the natural treatment supplementation is very important. It's the icing on the cake. By taking a couple of quality supplements along with the right diet, you're going to have a really high chance of eradicating blasto in a very short period of time. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I hope you've clicked on and downloaded the report. Otherwise, you can get my report from other blasto videos that I've done. Don't forget to check out CandidaCrusher.com, good information, and also yeastinfection.org. Thanks so much for tuning in.